cancer. And what it's going to be now, they've gotten rid of that. That's thanks to the Trump administration, the Pentagon, the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025, and a bunch of serving and retired generals and special forces. True patriots, not necessarily perfect people, obviously. But here's the new map. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the new map.
Are you ready to rumble? Two great powers fight it out with taxpayer-funded technology to lock you all up within a smart sensation. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Saturday, the 16th of May, 2026. This is Brendon O'Connell on the run in Mexico, Australian citizen, 3 years in jail.
There was extra security in the courtroom for the sentencing. After being told he would serve 3 years in jail, O'Connell yelled out, "That's a holiday camp compared to Gaza." O'Connell will spend at least 18 months behind bars before he's eligible for parole.
Locked up, biggest hate speech crime in history, biggest espionage case in history. Big claims, check out my UN document below.
This is about SAS Campbell Barracks, Leon Wind, Variant. Timothy, you told me that Variant does your local and national, your local police intercepts, an Israeli intelligence front.
Pop you in the car.
Yeah, I know you are, Tim. F you, Tim. I'll tell you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's do the defining talk on China, Iran, the Trump show, the circus must go on. Good things are happening economically, ethically, morally, legally, freedom as we head into the AI Smart Cities program. And there's Rothschild still in the background, buying up everything in sight. It's an exciting time, but I'm not wholly negative about this. I'm actually got a very positive spin. As you know, I have an extreme dislike for Donald Trump on a personal level. I know people that know him. I know exactly what he is. But there is a thing called Trump derangement syndrome. And there's lots of things to criticize Trump on. But in this video, until the end, we're going to be very positive. I'm going to tell you all the positive things that are happening. And we'll ask big questions. And we're going to use this Fox News report as the background. Because the good old Fox News, Rupert Murdoch, the very man who helped create China, is now telling you how terrible it is after he made a fortune backing and pushing China and the transfer of manufacturing and large-scale high technology over to his friend Heinz Kissinger's. We've got to go back to the 70s, bring the narrative forward, how that ties in with 9/11, why we have to keep going back to 9/11, who controls the computers to this day, Pax Silica. It's all happening, ladies and gentlemen. Can he find the correct intro button? Let us attend.
And cyber is a real domain of power. And cyber is a real domain of power.
You know, before commencing, I just wanted to mention a few things. Mary Silva, you will remember Mary Silva, congressional candidate. You remember her, right? Okay, well, Mary's getting endorsements from the Republican Party. I think she's running unopposed at the moment, but once people work out, they'll start putting people up. But again, Mary gets names, dates, and faces, and she reports them to me, so for future reference, because, you know, on the list. And Mary's speeches are fantastic. She's getting endorsements. She's got the national security down pat. Remember, tax is a national security issue. Just remember this. If no one's paying any tax, the billionaire rich, the billionaires who need the roads and the transport system and the critical infrastructure and the aircraft carrier battle groups to keep the supply chain open, they all want those benefits, but none of them want to pay tax. So then the US goes to the bond markets to try to raise money. Do you see how tax and tax evasion and tax minimization is a national security issue? Mary Silva is just basically a walking national security issue. That's all she is, because everything gets back to national security for all of us, not just the United States, not just the half which wrapped in the flag. Very, very specifically, if we free America, we free the world, okay? That's why we focus on America. Free America, free the world. Make America rich and powerful. Get everyone on board and say, are you going to be like us? And that's not Larry Ellison, Donald Trump like us. I guess change does take time. You'll have to decide how long you're going to wait. You're going to have to decide, gee, no one's in jail. Epstein, COVID vaxxers, the lies, the deceit, the massive tax evasion, the massive corruption, the drug money laundering, all the crimes. The whole world does it. But America, if you're going to be the lighthouse on the hill, guess what? You have to be the example. With great power comes great responsibility. So at some stage, there has to be at least incremental improvements. And I ain't seeing it. I'm seeing business improvements. I'm seeing all the crass, materialistic 666 beast system, this real world improvement. I see lots of improvement in the material world. But at what stage do we go, I want a president who's at least nominally heterosexual or openly homosexual, but no closets, and I want them to be preferably married and have a couple of kids. I want a bare minimum. I don't want them receiving free 747 jets. I don't want them having meme coin accounts filled with drug money. I don't want them extorting anyone for cash, Jews or Miriam Adelson or anyone alike. I just want them to be relatively normal. And America, you've got to come to the point where you've got to say, I'm drawing the line now. I've had enough of the orange clown. It's not Trump derangement syndrome. I want some decency. I want some better acting. I want a better script. And I am tired of this stinking clown who can't even put his hand on the Bible, but will happily make Jesus jokes, but will never touch Schneerson, will never upset his Chabad handlers. And America, you have to now say, enough is enough. I want him retired, whether permanently, in more ways than we can imagine, or he can go back to Mar-a-Lago with his Eastern Bloc whore prostitute wife got for him by Epstein. And just, he can have all the money taken from him that's in his drug money meme coin accounts. Thank you for your service, Donald Trump. Thank you for your being our wrecking ball, our disruptor. You've done a great job. There's no question. There's only one Donald Trump. There is only one Donald Trump. God will never make another. And he's done his job as disruptor. It's time now for some normalcy. They've clearly realized that J.D. Vance isn't that popular, and Marco Rubio looks like he will be the next president of the United States. Normally, I would have laughed at that, but I'm just so sick. He's basically done a pretty good job. So there's your new president. He has my papal Jack Daniels stamp of approval, and hopefully new generations of politicians are being groomed right now. And they're going to do radical things like, oh, I don't know, tell the truth. They're going to do radical things like, I want to know what happened on 9/11.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
I want Chris Boleyn brought in. I want to know who controlled all the computers, Amit Joran.
Thank you. I'm sorry, we've got to get going.
Okay,
Thank you so much for your
couple
help.
quick national security issues, Congresswoman.
Thank you. You can talk to me.
No, I need to talk to you. This is about serious national security issues. Very serious issue. This is about to happen. You know, the last time that cyber was put in the hands of Israeli nationals was in the run-up to September 11th, when Amit Yaron, the Israeli national who was sheep-dipped in the U.S. Army, was put in charge of the Pentagon cyber infrastructure.
RAD Group, Critical Infrastructure, Israeli dual national company, City of London. And it's still there right now. And I want to know when people go to jail. When? And you're going to have to set the tone, America, and understand that you are the boss. These people are not doing you any favors. You are the boss. Criminals, jail, life. There's lots of lower level FBI, state and federal counterterrorism, state NSA, DIA, CIA analysts. They're good people. They did their jobs on 9/11. They're in their 70s now. All right. They saw counterintelligence shifted from counterintelligence into counterterrorism. And now Israel was the best friend ever. The very people that pulled off 9/11 with City of London. French, Rothschilds, German, Rothschilds, Munich Security Conference, Swiss were involved, UK was involved, that whole City of London snake, you know, remember the Cambridge Five? Okay, remember Kim Philby? Okay, we get it now. We need a new crop of honest grassroots politicians. Is Dad in the CIA? I have no idea. There's no indication of that. It's just Mary Silva. She's normal. Lee, normal.
And all of our tech companies are being infiltrated by Israeli military intelligence. So check this out.
I believe organic, and they are grassroots, and they've been watching and they've had enough, and they've been willing to push themselves forward, and they're all alive. No one's locking any doors. You are free to go down, and no one's signing up for the Democrats. We get it, mental illness institution, but they're signing up for the Republicans. It's filled with Reagan type blue collar Democrats are in there now. Get down, sign into your Republican Party, and you don't have to say anything. Just sit there, form friendships, complain about the left, do all the usual crap in the fake right-left dialectic, and get to know people and slowly introduce this knowledge about critical infrastructure. Remember, you love and adore Israel. You're praying for Israel night and day. And then you tell them about all the commies from Russia who've infiltrated the whole place. Now they've got visas, and instead of coming through from the north, El Norte, French-speaking East Coast Canada, they now come through, well, there as well still. That's why Canada has to be dispensed with once and for all. The Crown has to be totally ejected from North America. They've got Australia. Let them have some kangaroos. Let them play. And America will dominate the Middle East and do all the stuff it needs to do. And it will end the Israeli infiltration, Russian GRU infiltration of the United States, City of London infiltration of the United States by these neo-Bolsheviks, these fourth, fifth, sixth generation family of Bolsheviks, former name Vorovanovich, who's now Smith. And they are fifth generation Mayflower descendants, apparently, and they've got blonde hair and blue eyes like Erica Kirk, and they're taking over the country. Well, that has to come to an end. There you go. She's right in there getting endorsements. No one's tried to kill her. No one's tried to blow up a house. But you're trapped. They've got total control. No, they haven't. That's your childhood fantasy, and you're lazy. You don't have to run for Congress, but you can support people like Mary Silva. You can get down to your meetings and have the flyers and meet people. And when the opportunity arises, you introduce the information. But why do that? Let's sit online and get paid to bullshit and coffee mugs on special this week. And if that's the way the Republic ends, I don't care. I'm not outcomes based. I'm just saying I'm going to humiliate you all the way down and laugh at you all selling coffee mugs and t-shirts while Mary Silva continues to get endorsements from top level Republicans. And she's rehearsing her, man, she's got it. She's memorized it now. She's got her speeches memorized.
Okay, I just handed out 50 flyers in 5 minutes. I should have had more printed. Oh my God, that was wild. I'm at the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association meeting where General Flynn just spoke. And they're having a prayer right now. Okay, prayer's over. So now I'm gonna hand out flyers and show you guys what we do. Would you guys like to learn about the penetration of our country? Yep.
Hey, Steve, real quick. I want to give this information. Russian penetration of Israel and Microsoft, Intel, cyber license of Russia and Israel. So I want you to look into that for me, please. Hey, Steve, you looking at that for us? Hey, awesome, man. Appreciate it. You're the man, dude. Thank you.
Do you guys both like one? Penetration of our country. This is information about it. Just some news articles I found. Would you guys like to learn about the penetration of our country?
You feeling me?
Yeah. Well, I got some pretty important information for you.
That?
It's about Israel.
Okay, what about it?
The Israeli press has been warning us about this Russian penetration of Israel. We've got files KGB infiltrated Israel at the highest levels.
Oh, wow.
And all of our tech companies are being infiltrated by Israeli military intelligence.
So as Mary Silva continues to move slowly, form relationships, let's get back and talk about China, and let's all laugh at people sitting online trying to pay their mortgage with a podcast, because that's what you do now. You pay. You don't try to fix anything. You just talk about stuff online. So let's talk about the things we need to talk about right now, which is the China visit, Iran, what's happening, and how everything is absolutely wonderful, except for a few things. Now we're going to use this video, this Fox News. It's 20 minutes, 18 minutes to be exact. So it should take about an hour. And using this as the backdrop and editing later, I'll edit in stuff, we're going to talk a lot of positive things about the Trump administration. Not Donald Trump, but the Trump administration. Remember, everyone hates him. Heritage hates him. J.D. Vance can't stand the sight of him. Marco Rubio can't stand the sight of him. Susie Wiles hates his guts. Everybody hates his guts. Nobody likes him. His kids hate him. His whole family hates him. His wife hates him for a reason. He's played his role. It's time for him to go. You need to start talking about it so the data analytics show we are just tired of Donald Trump now. And we want a new and better actor. Okay? Just like this.
Do we have to put up with this? I mean, can't we get a better actor? I know it's a small part, but I think we can do better than this.
Okay, let us begin, shall we? After we've attended. Sound level's good, everything's right. Saturday, I hope you're having a good weekend. And let's rock on.
Checking futures, and when you think of all the craziness going on in the world, you might
craziness.
I think they're down more than they are. They're not flat, they are in the
1,050,000. Who will ever forget that Pam Bondi? I just went, they're all committing suicide. The 1,050,000. Who would say that? These people are on drugs. I swear to God, they're flipping. They got glow sticks. They got their Vicks Vape Rub on their masks. There's something wrong with these people. Seriously, America. It's Hollywood, baby. Sorry, Emanuel. Let's go. Sorry, I'm going to try to let them speak. Then I will comment. Pray for me. Let's go.
red, but they're pretty close to flat. The Dow is down just 18, S&P down 7, NASDAQ is down 24.
That drug money laundering going, boys.
Now, this South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham says it is time for President Trump to consider changing course in Iran. Retired four-star General Jack Keane joins me now. General,
they roll him out every time. Oh, Jack Keane. Yee-haw!
To see you. We've had about a month of this very uneasy ceasefire with no resolution of opening the Strait of Hormuz or eliminating the enriched uranium. Is it time to try something else?
Car chase, baby. Love scene. Come on, give us something good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, where we are right now, I mean, you're absolutely right. We've gone through, 4+ weeks of negotiations. Because the Iranians flagged to the United States, that they were seriously
hate those Iranians.
Interested in making a deal. But after 4+ weeks, thank God for President Trump. I mean, he's our ultimate backstop here because he's not going to take a lousy deal. And just look at what the Iranians are proposing to us. One, to keep part of their nuclear enterprise, and that obviously is not acceptable. Two, to maintain sovereignty over the Straits of Hormuz indefinitely. And then the other three are all about, we know the regime is likely going to survive even if we return to combat operations, but we would want it to be so weakened that it's vulnerable to collapse. But if we make this deal, 3 of the provisions that they're asking for are all about financing their recovery, unfreeze the frozen assets, remove the sanctions, and we want reparations for the damage that's being done. So certainly, President Trump has absolutely rejected that. I think we've given negotiations truly a test of time to see if it would work, and it's not going to work. And my judgment is the best thing to do is go back and finish what we started in terms of assigned military objectives. Let CENTCOM and IDF go back to combat operations. And also, when that's completed, open up the Straits of Hormuz. And listen, hold hostage Cargallen. We're blocking it right now. But the Iranians, if we go back to combat operations, are likely to hit as primary targets the oil and gas facilities that exist in the Gulf region of our allies. We can tell them straight out, if you do that, we will begin not just to blockade everything coming out of Cargallen, but we will begin to gradually dismantle it and take away your capability to actually use any of it, which represents 80% of their revenue.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to use our brains. I'm not even going to bring you any evidence or any websites or any data from Perplexity or Gemini AI. You know what a J-Star is, right? You know what an AWACS aircraft is, right? Well, let's get that up, shall we? We're going to use our own brains. We're going to think for ourselves. Like when they say Hamas leadership after mass murder is living it up in a 5-star hotel in Qatar. I don't need to read a website to go, Qatar, biggest US-UK airbase in the world outside of the UK and America is in Qatar, Doha. And right next to that are a bunch of Hamas terrorists in five-star hotels. How does that work? Baby, we must keep funding Hamas. All the leaks, yes, we must keep funding Hamas. Oh my God, Hamas jumped the fence, a bunch of monkeys in paragliders. Oh my God, who saw that coming? Okay, we can think for ourselves. We don't need Candace to tell us. We don't need Tucker to tell us. We don't need even Brendon to tell us. We can think for ourselves. They need to hold us in thrall, hypnotize us. The latest crisis. Keep them coming. The latest fantasy garbage, whatever scripted garbage or an organic event, they amplify to get the result they want. It's all theatre, baby. It's all spectacle. It's performative art. We don't need me to tell you that. That's Edward Bernays. It's Tavistock Institute. It's advertising and marketing. It's Jungian and Freudian psychology. It's 150 years of mapping the human mammalian brain. It's putting them in mRNA scanners and seeing which parts of the brain are emotionally aroused with certain images. They know the mammalian brain back the front. Now you combine AI and data analytics and you can run literal Hollywood scripts to the tune and manage the whole thing. That's really what part this AI stuff is about. It's not just about picking targets and logistics. It's managing war, managing perception, manufacturing consent, managing local populations, managing foreign populations, managing war, managing logistics, and doing it all in a coherent pattern. That's what this is about. Now, that could be used for good. And I mean amazing good. Amazing stuff. I really understand this. I've been studying a long time. I was talking Ray Kurzweil back in 2008. Way back. In 2012, I write that the AI Antichrist is a giant AI large language model based in Jerusalem. Now watch it unfold as they build the bases there. So what I'm trying to say is it's all about management, perception management, population management, thought management, movement management, physicality management, everything, right down to which bombs go where. And when you begin to understand that, they must use these crises also to get the data they need. It's not that easy to start a war, believe it or not. A lot of ramifications. So when you get a Ukraine, you extend the crap out of that. You extend the crap out of it. That battle management system will never get that data again. And they know the same in Iran. But as they're saying here, let's get up a J-star and an AWACS and we'll ask very simple questions, like so simple you wouldn't believe. And you're going to work this out all by yourself. Now, there is your AWACS with its traditional dome on the top. You've seen 1,000 of those. Okay, very old technology. I remember in 94, they were doing all sorts of things. They've got new ones now. See these? They've got side scanning, millimeter wave radar. The J-stars tend to look more at stuff on the ground, but the AWACS can also track things on the ground. So it's 1990. Brendon is 20 strapping years old. I've just come out of Laverton, out of the desert of Western Australia from a mining company, and I've now moved back to Perth so I can go surfing. I've had enough of the desert and 45 degrees Celsius using a fire assaying technique. So it's 75 degrees Celsius in the furnace room. And I'm thinking, I've had enough of breathing in lead oxide and silica dust. So I come back and, of course, what's unraveling? The first Gulf War. And I'm watching as aircraft brag that from 280 miles, they are not only tracking aerial targets, they are tracking up to 500 individual targets on the ground at the same time, traveling up and down the highway of death. Oh, wow, that's very interesting. J-Star AWACS. We are now 30 plus years on, almost 40 years on, almost 35 years. Technology's come a long way. And you seriously think a little Iranian speedboat with a beards in the breeze, IRGC, boom, boom, they're in the, get them boys. And you don't think an Apache or an A-10 Warthog just doing slow circles, or a Predator drone just doing 18-hour endurance, slow circles, don't spot Abdul and Mustafa in their little speedboat and just blow them out of the water in exactly 5 seconds. You believe that? Do you think camels fart without permission from the United States military in that region? You don't think that side-scanning radar, that millimeter wave radar, which can track objects, identify the object, is it a tank? Is it an APC? Is it a speedboat? What's the size and range? That can track shit at over 100 miles. That's the millimeter wave. It can actually map the target, look at its shape. That's how fine the millimeter wave, like the masthead of an A64 Apache longbow, with radar-guided fire and forget hellfires. And you're going to sit there and tell me that there's nothing the United States can do to stop those evil Iranians. They have beards, they have turbans. You believe that? You believe that? So we can use our brains. Okay, the United States military just mounted a military operation with 0 deaths. Incredible. They apparently, allegedly lost 2 aircraft, one A-10, which I believe made it back to base, and an F-15, which, I don't know, they were on the news for 5 minutes and then there's nothing. We don't know the names of the pilots, his Rio officer. Did it happen? Who knows? Were they taking Instagram photos? Were they getting down low and they saw the sheep herder, the goat herder, and of course it's IRGC and he's got a man pad underneath and take whatever. Hundreds of aircraft, no mechanical failures, no air-to-air collisions, no blue on blue. Well, they did. Kuwaiti shot down 3 F-15s, and that is explainable. They went into the detail. The little F-5 Tiger, that little, I don't know who that Iranian pilot is, but if you don't know the story, he flew in under the radar and bombed an airbase. Ballsy as hell, assuming it's true, because what do we believe now? But I'm assuming it's true. I mean, that guy's going to be in a movie. And that's why the 3 F-15s were shot down, because the Kuwaiti pilot didn't switch on his radar and they'd already had someone sneak in and bomb into Kuwait. So, with these things in mind, I'm a techno geek, armed forces, knew the takeoff weight of a BF-109 K4 in the day. Total geeking out on all things technology and military that kill and dismember human bodies and camels' bodies. So I'm geeking out on all this stuff. And I'm telling you, for that tempo of operations was the most incredible military feat. It's way surpasses Maduro. Way surpasses Maduro. That tempo of operations, they didn't have a single fatality. I mean, in front line, in the rear, there were people killed. I want you to think about that. No aircraft failures, no engine failures that we know of, no air-to-air collisions. That was freaking incredible. And a very minimal civilian deaths. That was amazing. That was amazing. And I think the official death toll is like 5,000, mostly military personnel. Mostly military personnel in Iran. That's still 5,000 human beings without a mum and a dad. And I'm not saying that's nice, but that is a miracle. The Arabs were never so lucky. The Arabs have never been so lucky to get treated like Iran gets treated. Iran's like a panda bear. All right, they always get treated well. I was there, if you didn't know, in 2017, 2016, and I walked out. I just thought these people are not interested in Israel at all. These people just go on about Saudi, Saudi, Saudi all day. And once you understand that Israel is supplying the nuclear technology to Iran via third parties and fourth parties to threaten Saudi and the UAE, the Sunni Arab world, into peace deals with Israel. That's the sole reason for Iran to exist and do what it does, which was going to give you this original multipolar world order map. That was the original map they wanted. I own everybody. You'd have, what do we have there? Rouhani, he was president when I was there. He's backwards and forwards to Scotland for 6 years doing his PhD in Sharia law. Look it up. It's all linked below. The BBC.
Now, the British government has turned down an invitation to attend the inauguration of the new Iranian president, Hassan Rouhani, despite indications he wants to reach out to Western countries to reduce tensions, not least over Iran's nuclear programme. Mr Rouhani has strong links with Britain. He was a student in Glasgow. From there, our World Affairs correspondent Richard Galpin reports.
Look it up. He's doing his Scotland, doing his PhD. He's best friends with Lord Levi and Jack Straw. 1 degree of separation from that guy right there, Lord Jacob Rothschild. 1 degree of separation. They're all working together. Munich Security Conference, Swiss and German banks, French banks. They're all through there. Swiss and Germans all over Tehran. You wouldn't know that. You weren't there. I was there. Hundreds of them. They're everywhere. All over the street, like dogs' balls on a frogs. You can't miss them. And the Chinese, all in first class, business class. All Chinese business people. You just have to fly there. You don't have to be a geopolitical analyst. If you can get, well, you can't now, but I had an Australian passport. And of course, I was known to then the previous president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, via Mark Glenn and the Ugly Truth podcast. He said, you'll be welcomed into Iran for political asylum with open arms, quote. So, and there was the map they wanted, Greater Israel and the Persian Empire. And they said to me, they would be handling the stands. That's what the lawyer said to me, the Persian Gulf Studies Center. They are literal CIA-type analysts for Iran, Iranian analysts. Great guys, Mr. Passport, loved them. They were embarrassed. I said, this is embarrassing. They said, we know, we have to change. All these turbans, it's all cosplay, it's all theater, it's all bullshit. Totally corrupt. All the clerics corrupt, the IRGC generals all have $1 billion Swiss bank accounts. It's all a load of bullshit, all right? That's why they went after Mahmoud Ahmadinejad when he called out the corruption of the clerics and said, you're wasting all the people's money and you're not looking after the poor, young people can't buy houses. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad would talk like an American carnage speech because he's an Iranian nationalist. And they got rid of him. And they would have killed him had he not been so popular with the vast majority of the poor, the rural, the Iranians, the real Iranians, the barefoots. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. And he talked about young people can't afford houses, all this property speculation. We've got billionaires. This is outrageous. Sound familiar? That's Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. And that's why they got rid of him. And that was what they wanted. They wanted lots of with beards, and it's all cosplay, it's all garbage. They've all got their Swiss bank accounts. And what it's going to be now, they've gotten rid of that. That's thanks to the Trump administration, the Pentagon, the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025, and a bunch of serving and retired generals and special forces. True patriots, not necessarily perfect people, obviously. But here's the new map. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the new map. Let me get myself out of there. Hopefully you can hear me okay. That is the new map. The great, the one, the only, the true Iranian nationalist, Dr. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the master, the smiling assassin, the one who said to General Soleimani, or no, it was another general, who slapped him in the face when he said it, we need to get out of people's bedrooms. And we have a 16 to 35 demographic because Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is a civil engineer and understands how things work, not one of these moron cleric IRGC half-wits. All right, and he said, if we don't give the youth hope, they're going to turn on us. We're going to have mass murder. We have to reform. This is the hardliner talking now because he is a pragmatic realist. And in an email that was released by WikiLeaks, you saw General Colin Powell emailing someone else, because they all use Gmail apparently, they all use Gmail, saying the boys in Tehran, including Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, know the score. He said, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad told him, look, we make one nuclear weapon. We know what we're going to do. We know what you're going to do to us. What are we going to do with it? Polish it? That's from Colin Powell. And that is that guy who's saying, well, we know you're going to blow us to kingdom come, so what the hell's the point? And he said to the Ayatollah, let's exchange this program, our enrichment program, and we'll get all our medical stuff from the West. They will give it to us for free, and we'll do a deal with them. Simple. And we'll get some sanctions relief. And the Ayatollah and the clerics and the IRGC said no. Ahmadinejad said, what are you doing? You're going to get us all killed. Yes, that's the plan, good doctor, to destroy Iran. We'll see if that goes through yet. Hopefully not. It's definitely not the plan, but it might end up turning that way. Am I making sense to you? Did you know the Houthis right are completely supplied? I was right there where everyone was laughing about it. They always say, death to America, death to Israel, woo! And they fire at the Saudis. All right. And the Houthis will go down there with a cut lunch in a plastic bag and a water bottle in their sandals with their AK, and they will make the Saudis run from their Abrams, right, to run to McDonald's to get back in the air conditioning, and the Houthis are jumping all over the Abrams. They don't know how to start it or work it, and it's that freaking easy. Okay? It's a laughing stock, the whole freaking thing. Saudis, it's too hot. Most of their soldiers are from Egypt and all sorts of places, all right? It's just a freaking joke. Total joke. That's the Houthis. And when they started getting their asses handed to them when the US stepped in, Ahmadinejad said, listen, we need less guns and less missiles to the Houthis. We've got to send them humanitarian aid. They're starving. And chief asshole IRGC General Soleimani said, no, it's good for us. It makes the Americans look bad. And there's Mahmoud Ahmadinejad trying to do the right thing. That's the hardliner. That is the decent. That is the real Muslim who takes Islamic scholarship seriously, looking after people, like King Faisal. And that's your man, baby, right there. That's the new president, whether he does some sort of power sharing, God willing, he's still alive, thank God. And what do we have here? This is how the new map's going to look. You're going to have Pakistan there. You're not going to have just the whole thing, Greater Israel. You're going to have all separate pieces. And that's where Bibi's going to stand in the grand scheme of things. Just like that. And it's all to scale. And there's Hegseth and the Pentagon, and you know what they're doing right now? They're putting right into that place there in Gaza. They're putting huge military bases in there for that AI machinery. And if you will remember, I mentioned that way back in 2020, 2020, from Hotel Rinconada in Taquiscupan, a little town in Querétaro, the state of Querétaro, Mexico. So that's the new map. And just give him his peace prize and just be done with him. Please get rid of him. And that's how the United States will control that region in a balance of power. And Bibi's going to sit there and take it and hope that he's not transported to The Hague. That was the plan. Let's now get on to Now, I hope that you're beginning to think for yourself. Are you thinking for yourself now? When you see those pictures, J-Star, AWACS, you know, these things which can smell possum farts from outer space. Nothing moves on the Straits of Hormuz. Nothing moves without the permission of the United States. No one loads a mine. The mines you don't carry and toss into the water. You don't pull up with a trailer like a jet ski with mum, dad, and the kids, have a picnic and roll the 1.5 ton mine out into the ocean so that it runs into your own waters and your own channels. It doesn't work like that. No mine boat travels around dropping mines without getting blown to kingdom come. They don't have the magical mines that sit on the seafloor. It's a lie. They don't have any. If they had any, they had 5. They don't exist. There is no mine threat, and America is just keeping it closed. Why? Well, we're going to talk about why. But we've worked out when America decides to hang you by your balls, it hangs you by your balls. The Iranian elites were already in the bag before the game began. It's already done that way. What do we know now about oil and gas? Number one, they're all lining up to go and fill up in the United States, which has its own set of problems, but they're making a killing. And two, China's very worried because 90% of Iranian oil goes to China. China has about 20-30% out of that region, minimum 50%. All right, now China's in the bag. That's why they're visiting now. China's a little bit worried, and you've seen the deals. Everyone's happy. Oh, we're all going to be friends now. Okay, that's called pressure. How did they pressure the Chinese? Oh, they took over half their oil supply from the region. Oh, and put it under the direct control of the United States. So all you doom and gloomers, you're going to starve. There'll be no fertilizer. The zombies are coming. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you value my geopolitical analysis, please buy my coffee mugs. Please. All right. After they've all bullshitted their way through their silly little podcasts, and you've been scared to death and bought gold and silver, but, you know, I often say, well, you can't buy coffee with gold and silver, and when you go to exchange your gold and silver for fiat money, everyone's going to be doing the same thing, and you're going to lose all your money again. Why don't you just invest in the stock market, or buy a big block of land and a digger and a 40,000-gallon diesel and a 40,000-gallon petrol and some solar and all the rest? Wouldn't that be a better investment? You can't lose. Buy food. You can't lose. But apparently not. Buy gold and silver, dickhead. What a freaking idiot. The advice people get. Stampeded like morons, hairless apes into gold and silver. You could have just stayed in the damn stock market and made a bigger fortune. Suckers. Thanks. Thank you, Peter Schiff, for your incredible advice for the last 25 years. So now we know, all right? US is in control. They know exactly what they are doing. They are not confused. Pete Hegseth is not drunk all the time, just most of the time. And they know exactly what, and I hate to say, Pete Hegseth is actually doing a good job. He's a great advertising and marketing. He's good looking. He's dynamic. He sounds like a raving lunatic half the time. Perfect. They want to be scared. You know, that's why they use Donald Trump. But everyone's just sick of him now. Can we just put someone else in? But there's no, we got more dirty deeds to do. Dirt cheap. And he's dirt cheap. He's a bargain. So I guess they're going to keep him for a bit longer to do more dirty deeds. All right, but they're putting the bases in. So let me give you the rundown of the bases. You can see these below. US Tech Park in Negev may have nuclear power plant. In discussions on a memorandum of understanding for a US-administered technology park, the possibility was raised of a nuclear reactor to supply its huge energy demands. Israel and the US have reached understandings on the construction of a large technology park in the south of the country as part of a strategic cooperation agreement on AI signed in Jerusalem. This month, the MOU signed by the head of the National AI Directorate, Brigadier General Urs Eskel, and the US Undersecretary of State for Economic Affairs, Jacob Helberg, so this is all Pax Silica, reveals an ambitious plan to allocate 4,000 acres to the US. The park, which will be constructed in the Negev or in the Gaza Strip border area, will be called Fort Foundry 1. Now it gets interesting. A 99-year lease. Never, ever. That's the key if you understand Israel. They don't give 99-year leases to nobody, ever. Because now that is literally US land. And it will be run entirely by the United States. This is the AI Antichrist based in Jerusalem supercomputer. Why? Bunting's map in Israel on China's new Silk Road. If you're new to this, we've been carping on for 10 years now. Once you understand the Bunting cloverleaf map in Israel on China's new Silk Road, did a whole video on it. We'll get it up in a minute. Back in 2020, 6-7 years ago. And it was about Israel as a regional power. Okay, so this is replacing the Belt and Road with the IMEC, which is the India, Middle East, European corridor. They're openly saying it. Now that the Straits of Hormuz are closed, they have to build a big pipeline. It's already being built. They already had some, but now they're building it. They're going to build it straight up Saudi, up into the port of Haifa, going across to Greece, and it will go on up into Europe, and it'll be totally controlled by who? The United States, with big, giant bases. Not combo Israel-America bases, US bases, with US territorial gains, and eventually the entire state of Israel will be taken over by the United States as a protectorate. You watch. You watch. So once you understand Israel as the regional power, that line right there, and I made much of that 6-7 years ago, that's a worry, because that was the previous map. That was this map. That's that map. Israel as a regional power. Greater Israel, why? The great Persian Empire had come into the Euphrates, right, from the east bank of the Nile to the west bank of the Euphrates, Greater Israel. Okie dokie. Why would they form all those Abraham Accords? Because Iran, see, this is gold. If you don't understand the politics of the area, if you don't talk to people from the region, you won't understand the Sunni-Shia divide, the hatred. You will not understand that Iranians, Persians consider themselves the Aryans. They really do. There's a streak of arrogance in Iran. Remember, 50% consider themselves Persians. They consider themselves highly European focused, and Arabs are stinking barbarians who took over their country with Islam. They're Zoroastrians, and they got a real streak of arrogance in them, and they love Adolf Hitler because Adolf said the Indo-European language came out of Iran, and that is the home of the Aryans, which is technically correct. Remember, the Iranians or the Persians have had a pretty long history, 5,000 years, a bit like the Chinese. And they've been traders and doing business for a long time, filled with Jews. The Jews, Persian Jews run Press TV. I hate to break it to you. I know because I was there. And they were sneering and snarling at me. All day. Right. That was the streak. Now, remember, the other 50% of what you call Iran are ethnic groups, various ethnic groups coming up into Afghanistan. And these are the disliking and the arrogance you got to like. Remember, Iran and Iraq had a 8-year war, and it was vicious, man. That was a vicious war. I mean, Soleimani was a pretty badass soldier. He'd been through, as a young officer, through that war. His friends were killed. He was a warrior, man. Yeah, respect him in the Pentagon. And smart as attack. That war left its mark between Iran and Iraq. It's never healed. It's just gotten worse. Iran threatened Saudi with nuclear weapons. That's who they're not threatening Iraq. They're not threatening Israel at all. That's where you got it all wrong. You have to talk to people from the region. You have to go there. Israel is funding the nuclear program of Iran to threaten Sunni Islam, to threaten the Arabs. And Saudi said, if you don't do something about them, we are going to get a nuclear weapon of our own through our friends in Pakistan. Fact. Again, that's in the news, but it's not well known, but it is out there. You'll see the article. Saudi said, if you don't do something about Iran, Saudi.
No, Israel not serious. Saudi.
They just talk about killing. They hate the Saudis. They want to kill Saudi. Not Israel. I mean, they say it. They say it all the time. No, not Israel. Saudi.
No, Israel not serious. Saudi.
Once you understand it, who's heard me complain the day I got back from Iran? All they talk about is freaking Saudi all day. All day. I was going insane. Can we talk about Israel, please? Oh, yeah, Israel. No, back to Saudi. Once you see that with your own eyes, you begin to understand the plot. You begin to understand the Munich Security Conference, Swiss-German banking. Why are all these Swiss and Germans all over Lebanon and Iran, I might add? Everywhere. Like, I'm talking dog's balls on a frog. You can't miss it walking the streets of Tehran. Swiss, Germans, la. Not exactly hard to spot. I actually blended in. I actually got asked for directions by Iranians, which was pretty funny. We were miming. I was pretending to be a kangaroo to explain I was a tourist. Very funny. You had to be there. But you begin to understand? This is actually not hidden information. It's not going to be told to you by Fox News, but this is what's going on. You're beginning to understand the dynamics more. These are the dynamics of the politics of the region, which I never understood till I went there. So understand, all of Iran's balking and barking is aimed at the Sunni Arab world. And then Israel goes, you need us, bro. We'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can do something for you. We are indispensable Jews. We will help you out. Just sign this piece of code just right here. So you understand you're moving from that map to this map. Does that make sense to you? That is the new map. And the US is putting in its bases. That's what that big base is. All that stuff, the bunting cloverleaf map and this. Israel's set to invite US to move some Middle East bases to country and establish new ones. Right? That's 29th of March 2026. So you understand? Where are those 5,000 they're pulling out of Germany going? Well, they're probably going to Israel. They will dominate the Middle East region, the AI database. As I wrote all those years ago with a badly broken arm in Albany Regional Prison Maximum Security. I truly hope you will please download my UN document because that's what it looks like. I wrote this particular part in jail, my writing on Israeli intelligence activity in Australia and elsewhere, Leon Wen, Collins-class submarine and other civilian and military contracts. That was written from a high security jail with a badly broken, untreated arm. And if we go Control F and we go Antichrist. Nope. Oh, look at this. The Alta Israel Aircraft Industries Falcon radar. That's what the US is buying now. It's the Israeli modified systems. Can't make this stuff up. Let's do Control F. Right. Christian Science Monitor. How many have we got here? Oh, 84 matches. No. Let's try Antichrist. Oh, here we go. Right. Antichrist will bring you to this. This is what I wrote. It talks about Google, talks about Ray Kurzweil, all Jewish, talks about Sergey Brin, all Jewish, Larry Page, Jewish, Russian, Mark Zuckerberg, all Jewish. I go into all this stuff. It's all highly referenced. You can click on all these links. Oh, do these work still? Let's see. Open link in new tab. There you go. It's still there. Oh, no. That's just the front page of the Jerusalem Post. So a lot of this stuff just gets lost. But we go down to here. We go, and then there is the coming technology of quantum computing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is 16 years ago from a high security jail. You think someone would interview me and ask me a question, but why do that? And then there is the coming technology of quantum computing, which will bring to the world by 2025 a computer the size of a laptop that will be 1 trillion times, this is not my words, it's their words, 1 trillion times more powerful than the most powerful supercomputers available today. The consequences are staggering. The technology is the subject of several mainstream documentaries. And has even been present on the ABC and SBS News here in Australia. It is real, and some critics say it is frightening. They'll still need standard computers to run with the quantum, but they're going to simulate the universe. That's why they need real-time data. It's not to track and kill us. They need real-time data inputs. That's why they want the high-frequency 5G. So there we are. This transhumanism, there you go, before anyone else talked about it, from a jail with a badly broken arm. In February 2009, Kurzweil, in cooperation with Google and the NASA Ames Research Center, announced the creation of the Singularity University. Goes on, and what did I write here? From 2012, from a high-security jail. Google has a database so large it takes up several acres of servers in a building linked with NASA. They are inputting the entire Earth's book library into their database. With the notion of cloud computing run by Google, people store their data on remote servers instead of their local hard drives, giving Google access to yet another huge volume of data that an intelligence agency can turn into powerful intelligence. With fiber to the node internet connections, giving ordinary householders and businesses and corporations lightning fast access to the World Wide Web, then a quantum computer with highly sophisticated software could conceivably have access to the entire knowledge base of the planet. Some say this is the Antichrist spoken of in the Bible. Sophisticated artificial intelligence programs are already in use that can mimic the human thought process. Forget China. The greatest threat we face is from Israel, who is not only installing its electronic equipment through the world's telephone exchanges, it can draw on its vast SANM network to facilitate access to locations and databases it ordinarily cannot access via its state-controlled companies. Not to mention its extensive security contracts with public Class A infrastructure like airports, and electrical, and power, and sewage. Imagine a quantum computer developed by Jews in the US, perhaps jointly with Israel, linked in with the world's databases, and the software that enables it to literally predict the future and track and trace every human on the planet, and imagine it in the hands of people who think themselves God's chosen people, a bunch of racist, supremacist lunatics, with a history of religious and racial supremacism, and a religion that promises they will rule the world from Jerusalem. Don't arrest and charge the messenger. I'm just telling you what they say, think, and plan. Look at what they can do with 4.4 million tweets with a few lines of information. That was some tweets where they were predicting where stuff was spreading. I'll go into variant Israel. Look at that! 2012 with a badly broken arm from a maximum security jail in the education center. I produced that document. All right? So when they say, he's mad, he's insane, and you think, why don't they interview you, Brendon? Because they don't want to interview me about this. They don't want to interview us about pushing congressional candidates and pushing people into politics. They want you sitting on your fat, flabby ass as I tell you how bad things are. And please buy my coffee mugs and t-shirts. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's why. And I will never let them forget it. It's why Heritage Foundation keep trying to recruit me. You're not paying me enough. 3.8 million. Which is a worry, because when I actually put that into pesos one day, a couple of weeks ago, it came out to 66,600,000 and something pesos. 666. And I went, oh, okay. We'll just forget about that for now. We'll make it 3.7 million. Pretty funny. 33 and 666 is just coming up constantly, like spooky constantly. But I'm just trying to give you an example of what I'm writing about from jail. And the reason I found all this info is they had a thing called Kiwix. Kiwix is like Wikipedia on a prison hard drive. And that's how I got a lot of this information, as well as my own stuff. And I got stuff out of newspapers, Rad Group, Talpiot program, Zohar Zisapel, all from jail, 2012. 2012, 16 years ago. I want you to think about that. But not only that, I've got a badly broken displaced fracture and I'm one finger typing. Man, it's a freaking movie. So I'm trying to get to that. That's why people won't interview. And when they do, they always try to divert me off track. Always. The only person that's ever interviewed me was Geopolitics and Empire, and he was excellent. Straight on the ball, true academic. Do you have references for that? Tell me more. Just boom. So I'm thinking this Rich and these other people are coming along. Let's talk about it. Nah, no one can work with you, Brendon. So you just remember that when they say he's mad. So really, I downloaded his UN document. Are you going to download it? It's beneath every video. You know, you can use the Electronic version, it's fully indexed. I mean, it's awesome document. Very proud of that document. Go and read the High Court synopsis, which I wrote in 2012 from JAR. And you can jump on here and go wherever you want. Chinese company refused Australian government clearance. 2012 from a prison. I'm just trying to make the point. That's what they're building now. For good or ill, it will be controlled by the United States. And I put it in this video from 2020. To view my channel, go to playlists. You can go to, there he is, the interviews. I've got to pull them up. That's Geopolitics and Empire. That was an excellent interview. And we're going to go along to, you can see me being interviewed by police in 2014. Israel high technology cooperation with Russia and China. We're going to stop that. And we're going to go down to here. Video number 3. Can you see it there? Israel and Netanyahu, the plan for greater Israel and control of the Eurasian landmass. 2020. I did it at 2 in the morning with a voiceover into a Zoom mic with a doona over my head because I had jet lag. Just arrived the day before in Mexico, Tequiscopan Hotel Rinconada. That's where I made that excellent video. Watch this segment. This is at 19 minutes in.
Perhaps you can understand
Israel as a regional power. Thus, the rise of Israel as a key node in China's Silk Road grand strategy not only elevates Jerusalem in China's strategic calculus, but as Jean-Michel Valentin of the Red Team Analysis Society argued, also presents a new status of Israel from a, quote, protected power of the US to a, quote, integrated regional power. In its own right, transforming Israel's traditional narrative of seeking protectors to one of seeking partners. The emergence of Israel as a Mediterranean energy player, its continued stability and robust military power in a neighborhood of unstable and weakening Arab states, and outreach to the Eastern Hemisphere by joining Turkey and Egypt in their applications to the China-led Shanghai Cooperation Organization, is thus slowly creating a new regional and international system of shared interests between Mideast countries and the Middle Kingdom. Nonetheless, Syria remains a thorny issue between Israel and China, as well as with Russia and India due to Jerusalem's support for the opposition that consists of jihadists from these countries. What it's going to talk about is IMEC, without calling it IMEC, as part of a secondary route. Now they're making it the Mound Route to bypass the Belt and Road. This is all about leverage. Do you understand that America is in complete control? Do you understand the hysterical horse shit being pushed here? They don't know what they're doing. The Pentagon has lost control. They're all drunk. Peter Heck says, doesn't know what to do. They're so confused. Do you realize what bullshit this is? They know exactly what they're doing. They have this plan down to the nth degree. They're testing their battle management systems. They're having a ball. The boys are having a ball. They're playing with all their toys. Some of the stories coming out of there are hilarious, like to do with the Patriot missile systems. The Kuwaitis were running in fear whenever the ballistic missiles were coming, and they would run into the bunkers. They'd press the automate button, and the Patriots are firing off 8 missiles at every one ballistic missile coming in, and the Ukrainians had to be brought over to show them how to use it properly and to tell them to stop being cowards and run into their bunkers. They have to sit in their command and take manual control of the Patriot systems and use 2 missiles. Lockheed and Raytheon were very upset. Making bank, baby. Kuwaitis were firing those suckers off. I mean, some of the stories are freaking hilarious. But the point is, I mean, in all the seriousness that's going on, you can now understand the US is in total control, okay? No one's dying, there's no zombie attacks, no one's going to starve, no fertilizer, we're all going to die. When you get sick of the clown show online, it's just a clown show of half-wits who wouldn't know a geopolitical asshole from a geopolitical book. They don't read books, they just repeat shit they saw online and then ask you to buy their coffee mugs coming soon. Okay, that's it. That's the best you can say about them, apart from the rest, which are knowingly lying and pushing the fear porn bullshit. Simple as that. So with these things in mind, let's now go back to Fox. Everything you need is linked below. I have had so many people who are obviously academic types contact me and tell me, wow, this should have been really obvious. And I'll say, well, that just shows you what 1 man and 10 grannies and housewives and retired serving military can just share some links together and voila. There you go. There's the narrative. Primakov Doctrine, Multipolar World Order, we'll get into it. But I repeat, you just have to watch these Israel High Technology Cooperation, the playlist. It's all there. Just go and watch it. Boom, voila. Let's get back to General Jack Keane.
So we hold all the cards here. We have always held all the cards, David. It's just that we gave them an opportunity to play a decent hand, and they're not.
They're not taking it at all.
Oh, they're not taking it because they're told not to take it. This is the theatrical stage show. And the Ayatollah's dead. His son's dead. None of them are alive. It's all garbage. Just stop it. Jeez, just come up with something better. Make aliens. I want aliens to come into Tehran and take over. Something exciting. Give me something good. We should start up an LLC, a better crisis management actors and stage theatrical productions or something.
Oh, clearly. General, next one for you. President Trump is set to meet with Xi Jinping in Beijing this week. What message about Iran should the president bring to President Xi?
Well, let me just say outset, to frame these negotiations, because for both leaders, the most important bilateral relationship is the relationship with China and the United States.
Sorry, Donald Trump is 6'4". Xi Jinping is 5'9". So I'm just curious how that's real.
And obviously, we're a major superpower, economic and military superpower, as well as a nuclear power, since post-World War II. We've been at this a long time in terms of global leadership. China is an emerging nation that, by statement after statement for Xi's almost 13 years now, has said he wants to not only control the Indo-Pacific region, but to replace the United States as the world's global leader. So that's
because Heinz Kissinger told him it would be. Heinz said in 2017 in South Korea, we're shifting the center of gravity from the Atlantic to the Pacific. I guess we got to show that section, don't we? Let's get that up. This is from 2021. Hey, look at that. There it is there. The Great Game, A Family Civil War. You ready? That's a great video. That is from 2021, 6 years ago. And we'll get to the best bit. Anyway, just watch these. You're going to hear Kissinger lay it out for you. You'll see how it ties in with 9/11. About to hear Kissinger. This is 2017 from South Korea. He's telling everyone how it's going to be. That's why they brought in Trump originally, to do the dirty deed, collapse the United States, usher in the Primakov Doctrine, Kissinger multipolar world order.
China's Belt and Road Initiative, in seeking to connect China to Central Asia and eventually to Europe, will have the practical significance of shifting the world's center of gravity from the Atlantic to the Pacific.
Shifting the world center of gravity, the leadership from America to China. There you go, straight from the horse's mouth. Rothschild's bastard son, Heinz Kissinger. Thanks for coming. Ryan Dawson didn't tell you. Conor McGregor didn't tell you. Richie, Crypto Rich didn't tell you.
And will involve the cultures of Eurasia, each of whom will have to decide what relationship to this vision they will seek. And so will the United States. This is why many of us urge the United States to join the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank when it was proposed by China.
Okay, now watch this. Donald Rumsfeld called for an audit of the Pentagon September the 10th, 2001 with Rabbi Dov Zakheim, the comptroller. At the same time, Army studies called for the U.S. occupation of Israel to enforce a peace plan September the 10th, 2001, which they're doing right now. They're doing it right now. Oh, September the 11th. Whoops, what happened there? It's not important to a lot of people these days, apparently. See how it all ties in. All ties in. China is admitted to the World Trade Organization with the support of the Bush administration, December the 11th, 2001. Look at that. Machiavellian German refugee Kissinger shaped U.S. policy with Jewish philosophy. Wow, that's interesting. Maybe Ryan Dawson will tell us about it, or Whitney Webb. Kissinger and Associates head Paul Bremer sets Iraq on fire, sacking all Sunni Ba'ath Party members against the wishes of the Pentagon generals. Yes, to allow Iran into the region with the Shia. Pan-Arab nationalism is destroyed as per the Genome Plan, making the Middle East safe for Israel and the Belt and Road Project. The Bunting Cloverleaf Map, Israel as a regional power.
This makes Israel very powerful. This makes Israel very powerful. This makes Israel very powerful. It's giving us powers and prowess that we never had before. It's giving us powers and prowess that we never had before. But we're in a position now to compensate beyond anything that we dreamed of. But we're in a position now to compensate beyond anything that we dreamed of. And the future belongs to those who can seize this change. And the future belongs to those who can seize this change. We are positioned right at the cusp of this change, right at the center of this change. Domain of power.
I made that video 2018.
Cybersm.
I hope that you will now understand how central 9/11 is to that whole set of things. 73, the Binational Science Foundation, Kissinger, Nixon. That's formalizing technology transfer to Israel to hand it on off to Russia and China. They used the narrative that they were doing this to backdoor stuff, which was technically true. When Reagan administration, they blew up Soviet oil pipelines with programmable logic chips, industrial controller chips supplied via Israel into the Soviet Union. And they've done the same today with Russia and China. That's why all those H200 chips, NVIDIA, they're all backdoored. Trump admitted it. He said, we're giving them special ones. He said it. Okay, and that's the counter narrative that they're telling to the generals. Oh, that madman OConnell. No. This is our plot. It's a lie because the same people are now all through the United States. The scam's on you, America. You got punked. And you see 73, détente with the Soviet Union, détente with Red China, building the Belt and Road, getting ready, Islam as the great terror, so they can install all their crowd control equipment. So they've got to wind down the Soviet Union, which was collapsing anyway. They were so incompetent, couldn't build a TV, and they were building up Red China as a manufacturing base, which will service Eurasia. And right there was France, Germany, and the UK. Rothschild, German high technology, French high technology, Swedish high tech. Sweden, Ericsson, man, top of the world. Some of the best in the world. Combining it with Russian raw resources. That's why Gerhard Schroeder, the German chancellor, is the handler of Putin. Putin's not penetrating Europe. The Rothschild banking dynasty is penetrating Russia and China. They own them. So Russian raw resources with German and French high-tech combined with Chinese manufacturing. Who rules Eurasia? And there's little Israel, greater Israel, handling all the data, becoming a cyber power. We put this together over 10 years ago. And all they do is run around and say, you can't work with him, he's horrible. My rules are very simple. No white nationalism, no racism. America's about not the color of your skin. America's about a good heart, being dynamic and forceful, alpha males, alpha females, the best toilet cleaners, the best nuclear physicists. You can come and you can be free. You don't have to be born from the right vagina. You can just be a good person and you can make it and you can value freedom and we can reach to the damn stars with technology we cannot conceive of in this day. 1903, the Wright brothers. In 1959, not 63, 59, the CIA Oxcart, the SR-71 flew, an all-titanium turbo ramjet miracle at Mach 3.2. Less than 60 years. Can you even conceive of that? So if you don't think we could have incredibly advanced technology where we could, 30% the speed of light? You don't think that's possible? You don't think the material science is ready for us to colonize Mars, the moon? Are there things and obstacles to get over? Yes, there are. And when we see the world come together as nation states, sovereign nation states under the leadership of the United States, I've come to free the slaves. I've come to free the slaves from born to rule Brahmic master assholes. That you can be you. You can individuate. You can self-actualize. You can be you. You matter. The individual matters. There's no place on earth that does that except the United States. That's why God created the United States. 1776, and they've been trying to crush it ever since. The enemy is the EU. The enemy is the City of London. Born to rule Brahmic master assholes. Crackers in Armani. They are all white and they are all in Europe. They are raving, stinking, psychopath lunatics, and they must destroy the United States at all costs. Well, guess what? Not working out so well for you, is it, fellas? Is it? Comprehende? We can have a golden age. But we have big problems in Donald Trump, Chabad Lubavitch, and how they are justifying racist, lunatic psychopaths as being required to continue the mission. There's one problem with that, because I don't notice any Rothschilds being arrested. I don't notice any elite Hofjuden, court Jews of Europe being arrested. I don't notice anyone in jail at all. All I notice is a big bunch of born-to-rule assholes being protected and now disguising themselves and buying up half of America as we speak. All of the new infrastructure. That's a problem, wouldn't you say? Now, the answer is not to cry about it. The answer is to what? Engage in politics. Yeah. That's why Whitney's never going to tell you that. That's why they're going to scare you to death and tell you the end is nigh. And you bitch and you whine and you send them money on YouTube. It's going to come to an end. People are going to say, what's your political solution, dickhead? Oh, I don't have one, but we buy coffee mugs and then the leprechauns and the fairies come out and magically we are transported into our new golden age. No, you're going to have to do work and you're going to have to be tired and you're going to have to make time. You're going to have to find out who your congressional representatives are. You're going to have to get the apps on your phone where you can track legislation and who's pushing it and where it's going. That will take effort, not just sending links. You're going to have to get involved in politics. Oh my God, no. It's called work, and you're lazy. Lazy. Oh, the Jews made me do it. Oh, it's psychological warfare. I have no time. I have a mortgage, Brendon. Oh, we'll die then. Oh, my children will die. You care about your kids? You'll have to fucking find time. Oh, but there's only so much time to download porn and do stuff. I'm so busy. Well, I'll die. Do you think it was easy when they were promising to let all this go and I refused to back down and I kept kicking them in the balls? Do you think that was easy? Do you think it was easy to lose everything? Do you think it's easy to go to the point where my whole body broke down? I was under so much stress. Set aside the barbecue because you're going to have to go support Mary Silva at the next congressional candidate meeting. Won't you? Well, that sounds like effort. No one can work with him. Man, I'm going to come out of this smelling like fucking roses. The rest of you, we screenshot you. We're going to hold you to account for every bit of bullshit you told. Every single bit of bullshit. Let's move along before I smash the computer screen. Tell us more, General Jack Keane.
It's an emerging nation. And what both leaders want is certainly not have confrontation. And so stability is important to both leaders. And going into this, the importance of the relationship, the personal relationship for both leaders is much more significant people realize. They both advertise.
Oh, yeah. Listen to what they're saying now coming out of the Chinese media, official media. We don't have to read between the lines here. Chinese readout of Trump-Xi meeting. This is a summary from the official Chinese media. The Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. China will only open its door wider. US businesses are deeply involved in China's reform and opening up. China welcomes more mutually beneficial cooperation from the US. Well, there you go. Apart from some of the bullshit, like they're going to buy 200 Boeing aircraft. Yeah, well, maybe 20 this year. You know, Trump's always exaggerating. For all you doomsayers, for all you stinking rat doomsayers who continue to sell coffee mugs, pay for all your views, pay for your subscribers and all your bullshit, your days are coming to a damn ending. The bells are going to toll for you. We're going to move this along a little bit because now Fox News people are going to start asking questions like, gee, how did we end up here? Don't ask those questions because you might find Rupert Murdoch. Now, there are multiple clowns here, but my favourite's about to speak. The blonde-haired bimbo. Sorry, not being mean, but I mean, they're all half-wits, but she's especially a half-wit.
You know, to keep moving forward on AI.
God.
I do. I have this probably horrible, endless optimism that even if they get the H200s and they try to do it, I just believe in
That's the H200 NVIDIA chips, which are all backdoored.
Our capitalist system that we can out-innovate China, always. I mean, you heard Trump there. He brought in, I don't know, estimates from $12 to $15 trillion in market cap just by the 10 to 15 guys sitting behind him. That's half of our economy. Just like there. So if you're telling me that those guys, our best and brightest, can outsmart China, I guess that's where maybe I'm too of an optimist, where I think, yes.
All right, we're going to leave it there. But it's worth watching. It's 40 minutes, but the first 20 minutes at least. But she goes, capitalism. No, you're the most socialist country in the world. Free markets for the poor, giant taxpayer handouts for businesses. The Pentagon budget alone is a giant taxpayer handout. They said post-World War II, we're going to plunge into the depression again unless we keep a Cold War going. So they were funding and sending the technology into the Soviet Union so they would have an adversary and the US couldn't take over the world. Okay? And all the Jewish Bolsheviks, Oppenheimer and all his friends were sending all of that technology to the Soviet Union. And they needed to keep the Cold War going, which would justify taxpayers' expenditure. They would then hand the technology to their CEO, crisis actor rats, Steve Jobs. Oh, look, we started in our little garage. I've always got a backstory. We started in a garage, humble beginnings. It's all military-industrial complex, American taxpayer money. All of it. From microwave ovens to this computer, to your watch, to your mobile phone. All military technology funded by DARPA and the US taxpayer. Every last drop. Oh, and all the stuff they stole off all the other countries along the way. Okay? Free markets for the poor. Massive taxpayer subsidies for the rich. Who then say, we don't pay tax, by the way. You pay tax, suckers. That's got to end. It's a national security issue. Because then you got to go to the bond markets to raise the money to pay your bills. See, it's all national security. As Steve Bannon said, we either tax the rich at 47%. We're talking about the billionaire class. And they have every right to go, well, fine, but I ain't wasting the money on some Somali immigrants for their daycare centers. We get it. That all needs to be cleaned up. Everything has to be accountable, including the dole bludger billionaire class in the United States and elsewhere, who would not get out of bed or lift a finger unless they were getting a giant taxpayer subsidy or tech handed to them. Just like Xerox, who had done actual research for the graphical user interface and the mouse and other stuff, and they were told to hand it to Apple, to Steve Jobs and Wozniak. That was Xerox tech that they had done themselves, which they'd technically gotten from DARPA. DARPA was doing Skype and all sorts of stuff back in 1970, 72. And then they hand it to their little lodge boy, whichever actor they've employed to carry it forward as the genius, like an Elon Musk. What were they thinking there? And that's the great game. You are not a capitalist country, America. All right. It's free markets for the poor and socialism for the rich. And I'm not against that, but everyone needs to be accountable and everyone needs to pull their weight. There's nothing wrong with pooling taxpayer resources to get stuff done. I'm all for it. But I'm tired of these rich people then saying, well, we don't pay tax. We put it in our Cayman Island accounts. That all has to end. The US, send in the Marines and just grab it all. If they get in your way, blow their brains out and throw them out their castle window. Very simple. Very, very simple. So go and watch as they ask all these questions. And we can ask questions like this in summing up. By crikey, by jingo, people. Does that look familiar? Who we got here? We've got Rupee, we've Jared, we've got Rupert Murdoch. I'm not sure who that guy is. He's from Japan. And we've got with Robert Maxwell. We've got all the gang, all the old neo. Is that Alexander Haig? There's Donald. There's Rupert at the golf club. There's Rupert Murdoch's best friend, Heinz Kissinger, for 50 years. Oh, look, there's Rupert with good old Vladimir Putin fighting the globalists. And, of course, there we have them down at the Atlantic Council with General Jim Jones, Shadowgate, running Denology and Clearforce, psychologically profiling all Americans, the general. Deep in bed with Fox News. Gillian, what's her name? She's a presenter on Fox News. That was his personal secretary. There's good old Rupert. Let's move along now. How do I get to the next one? Do I go down, up, page, up? No. Why isn't this letting me move the pages here? That's very... Okay, I've just got a random slideshow going. We're just going to rush through these like a speed dating session. Are you ready? Let's get a full screen. Let's have a look at Rupee. Okay, we're all old friends. There he is with his Chinese communist spy, Wendy Chang, who he married. Oh, that's a fake AI image. Cole Allen accused of sexual harassment. Now, here's an interesting story. Cole Allen is New York Post. He, former editor-in-chief, Sydney's Daily Telegraph, and a long-time trusted Murdoch, Cole Allen, harassment during his time of News Corp's New York Post. Hey, I got some interesting gossip on that. Kevin Rudd, a highly intelligent, speaks fluent Mandarin, was the Prime Minister of Australia. So like a Democrat, he's a Labor Party, and he's been groomed for the UN, but he is very smart. They call him Glassjaw Rudd. To his credit, he used to have some pretty awesome speeches on education and other stuff. I wanted to like him, but couldn't. Christian, Lutheran, married to a Jewish woman, though they won't admit it, who's ripped off a lot of people too. But anyway, Kevin Rudd. Well, Kevin Rudd, remember in 2010 when they used Australian passports and New Zealand passports to kill the guy in Dubai? Well, Kevin Rudd booted out a bunch of consular staff and called them Mossad agents. The first time ever anywhere in the world anyone had done that, and that was Kevin Rudd. Not long after, it is revealed that Kevin Rudd was with Cole Allen, who you see there, in a strip joint in New York, and he was ejected from the strip joint for fondling the strippers. That was Kevin Rudd, the Prime Minister. Hilarious. Anyway, he stepped down. Well, that was Tony Abbott and friends at work getting rid of him. To his credit, though, he went after some serious people. So that's just a bit of gossip for you. That's how it works. That's Cole Allen there, and he was just an old deviant like an Epstein. So let's keep going on. Trump furiously attacks Rupert Murdoch as globalist. He went after him. That is true because Madison Pompeo got a hold. Heritage Foundation got a hold of Trump and dragged him away from Rupert and Heinz Kissinger. There they all are at the Atlantic Council. Red Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch, best friends ever of Jacob Rothschild, is the City of London international banking cartel employee along with his allies in the multipolar world order, Putin, Xi, and Netanyahu. And that is all true. There they are at the Super Bowl sitting next to Rupert Murdoch with Elon Musk. There's Elon Musk with good old Jared Kushner. That's just a thing I made up. We're just steamrolling through here. There they all are, all friends, Rupee. And remember, Rupert Murdoch worked with Jimmy Goldsmith and Lord Jacob. We'll get them up soon. There's my boy. I was invited out with Tony Abbott and all his friends. There's Rupert and Heinz Kissinger, all good buddies. We'll just speed date through this. That's when they were pushing good old... what's his face from Thingy. Anyway, there's a good image of him again. There's Donald with Robert Maxwell. I think that's Haig, isn't it? The age-old 1980s Reaganite neocon types. There's Donald. Hey, Donald, we've all got memories. Hi. We'll keep moving right along, speed dating through this. I think that's about it. There they all are at the golf club. There's Tucker, working with the City of London. There's Gorbachev. There's Madeleine Albright. There's Rupert Murdoch there. There's Wolf. What's his name? Wolfenstein. There's Kissinger. And good old Madeleine Albright. She was on the War Policy Board with Kissinger. Trump fired them. There she is with their boy, good old Gorbachev. Madeleine Albright was famously pulled up and said, Madeleine Albright, the sanctions will kill 600,000 Iraqi children. Is it worth it? And she said, yes. It's unfortunate, but it's worth it. Oh, just mass murder of children. See, they're all nice people. I guarantee you, Madeleine Albright is a lovely lady. She makes you a cup of tea. She's pleasant. She's wonderful. The grandkids run in and play. Yeah, we killed 600,000 Arab kids. They're brown anyway, don't worry about it. You know, see, nice people. They're all nice people, ladies and gentlemen. There's Rupert and Donald in better times. There's Rupee and Jared. Anyway, just draw your... It's all the same mob. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all the same mob there, Dad. All the same mob. It's a big family up there in New York there, Dad. Yok, yok. That's prison talk. Bunch of nungas. Send a bunch of nungas down, run through your house, sort you out there, Dad. Yok, yok, yok. So there you go, ladies and gents. 73, the bird, the bar, the technology transfers into the Soviet Union, building Red China, multipolar world order. You keep the artificial enemies going. You keep the Cold War going. You keep the artificial subsidy of high technology. You then say we have to build robots and drones and automated killing machines and automated systems for the court system. They're corrupt. Automated policing systems, they're corrupt. They corrupt it all. With the prison industrial complex and the drug trade, the illegal drug trade. They tell you that cocaine is dead. Cocaine is the most harmless drug ever invented. Alcohol is the worst drug of all, and that's legal. We need to end the war on drugs, end the militarization of police, end the prison industrial complex, end cameras on every street corner. And they're going to tell you, Red China's coming, we have to compete, and we've got to build automated systems. If we don't get a control of this narrative, if we don't start getting smart and intelligent, if we don't start supporting the likes of a Mary Silva and involving ourselves in politics, if we just bitch and moan online, there's a reason I'm one of very few people pushing political solutions. You don't make money. They told me to my face, 10 grand a month, don't push a political solution. You can talk about Israel, high technology subversion all day. Don't talk about 9/11 or political movements. 10,000 a month guaranteed in your pocket. Don't tell me my theory of how they're approaching everyone. I know they approach everyone because you know how much they approach me and you know at what level they approach Brendon Lee O'Connell. And their view is, we're trying to fix it. Change takes time. These things are handled quietly. All right? Pax Silica is a problem. Israel front and center is a problem. Programmable logic chips is a problem. If you want to know about that, it's right here in my playlist, Pax Silica. And I've even done a latest video, the Pax Silica trap, right there, Still hidden though. Where I extract from one of the main videos, it's only 20 minutes. And it explains Pax Silica, and I'm watching other people explain it, and they are actively refusing to even name Israel. And Mary Silva's going after them with Adam and a few other people. These are the new leaders. These are the people they put in front of you. That's, I do believe it's these people. Where are they? I don't have them up. They're on Substack. And they're the new geniuses. They're being pushed now. And they will not tell you anything about Israel's direct involvement. They won't tell you anything about the industrial controller chips, which will sit on top of everyone's critical infrastructure, from power to water, the banking, the finance, the databases. And they will real-time monitor Israeli technology. And these people will not say Israel. They call you an anti-Semite. They're literally calling my friends right now, including Mary Silva, an anti-Semite. It's not going to work out well for you people. She's getting publicly endorsed by the Republican Party. They freaking love her. She's a double Libra. I just want to punch him in the face. I'm tired. I'm sick of it. And she's just smooching with all of them and getting one at a time. And the vast majority are women. For some reason, the women get it real quick, but the men are too busy worried about their bank accounts. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Thank God for the freaking women. Thank God for Kay Griggs. Thank God. I love it. I love playing them off against the men, the big tough men. Men are just the worst. Sell their souls for freaking money. Because women have to go through childbirth and have sore nipples breastfeeding, and then they have to watch their kids run off and die in wars. They tend to have a better notion of everybody getting along. They have a better notion of the truth. And they don't have the ego of freaking dickhead males who just want to get money and flop their dicks around, and they see a bit of pussy and they're on their knees like a bunch of dumb, useless, pee-pee infatuated half-wits. It's almost embarrassing to be a man half the time. So we've either got these bullshitty half-wits or we got some manosphere bullshit. Can we just have ordinary, normal people, please? Is that possible? Ladies and gentlemen, America is dominating. Anyone that tells you it's over, we're all going to die, we'll all be doomed, said Hanrahan, if this rain don't stop. Banjo Patterson, Henry Lawson, check them out. Great Australian poets. Just stop it. The problems we need to face now are engaging in politics. We need to talk about Silica, Israeli involvement. We need to talk about America dominating Israel and just taking it over, as is happening right now. And we need to talk openly about the fact there is no place in the White House for racist religious lunatics with strong ties to Nathaniel Rothschild and various other insalubrious activities around the world. That's Chabad Lubavitch. No place in the White House. Kushner, out. Lutnick, out. You know, you could even keep Lutnick. He's really good at pushing America in commerce. Just keep him there and retire him later. But just get Chabad out of there, please, on the whole. And then just get rid of Trump and push him out. Take all his money, all the drug money off him and say, you can have $250 million. That's what you came in with. That's what you're leaving with. And just let him go back to his Eastern Bloc whore prostitute wife, Melania. And just, that's it. That's the best he can hope for. Take all his money, donate it to the poor, donate it to a new foundation on fair and equitable taxation for all people, rewarding even the filthy rich if they do more work in America, making sure the tax money is distributed to reasonable, kind and decent things, and tax money is allowed to pool and assist industry in dominating the world. We can find our middle ground. We can all get along. We can all cherish our children's futures, and we are all mortal. Ladies and gentlemen, this summary should at least give you some rundown on China and Iran, and you can begin to think for yourself. You do not need some geopolitical expert to tell you how the world works. It's very simple. But we need arrests. Epstein, 9/11, full investigations, and I want to see born to rule Brahmic masters, crackers in Armani, the finest tailored suits. Is it London? Is it Milan? We don't know, but the English and the Italians are fighting already over who is the best tailors. But in their finely tailored suits, I want to see a few of them going out windows. How about you? Steve Bannon said, we either tax the rich and start paying our debts, or we got to borrow it from bond markets and put ourselves in further debt. That's national security. These same people demand all the benefits of taxpayer-funded high tech, and then they say, by the way, we ain't contributing back. In fact, we're a multinational, transnational corporation, probably owned by Rothschild, and we're taking over your infrastructure as we speak. That has to stop. Ladies and gentlemen, be positive, embrace AI, learn about it, use it, and get involved in politics to how we are going to handle this new beast that's coming into view. It's a valuable tool, or it's going to destroy us. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you again very, very soon. Till then, let me find the big end. We're talking real soon. F. Scott Fitzgerald, quote, "The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. One should, for example, be able to see that things are hopeless and yet be determined to make them otherwise. This philosophy fitted on to my early adult life when I saw the improbable, the implausible, often the impossible, come true."
What is our common bond truly? Freedom. Freedom. Without freedom, you can't be a Christian no matter what denomination you belong to. You can't be a Buddhist. You can't own a donut shop. You can't drive from here to Oregon. You can't be an American because that's what it's all about, and that's the only thing that it's all about. Nothing else. Nothing else. It's about freedom.